Welcome in. We are live here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. I am your host, Harrison Graham. Welcome back to our normal Monday time slot. You got me, you got producer Trace hitting the ones and the twos as well. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to today's live show. A lot to get to, but as always, we're going to let the audience build up a little bit and get the chat popping here, so stay active in the comments. Shout out your city. Let us know where you guys are watching from, and let's get this chat popping here. Amani says, what's poppin'? Tony says, sup? What's going on, Tony? Yay, we're back. Beach says, Chiefs, what's going on? Someone says, sorry, Frank, it's goodbye. Yeah, we'll get to our live poll question here in a few moments. Tony's in San Antonio. Feel free to type your answer, your city more than once. Represent, be proud. We're here in the great city of Dallas, Texas. Trace is from Melissa, Texas, if you guys have ever heard of that. If you haven't, it's okay. The thriving Melissa, Texas, he tells me in my ear. North Bergen, New Jersey, ZT up in Kansas. We got Kentucky from Billy representing out there in the great Bourbon State. El Paso, Texas from Amani. Yeah, producer Trace is an Arkansas fan / alum, and he's still celebrating that one over the weekend over Kentucky. Let's see. What else we got going on? Go Spurs Go from Tony. All right. Shout out your NBA team, it sounds like. Cole says Wichita, Bakersfield, California from Juan. Ronald's in Florida. Chiefs Kingdom's representing from everywhere in the comments. All right, let's get to today's poll question. Should the Chiefs cut Frank Clark? Type C for cut, type K for keep. What are you doing with Frank Clark? 84% say cut. Also type in the comments your answer. I'm not surprised by this because his cap hit of $26 million is too much. You can save about half of that if you cut him, $12.7 million. So I would not be surprised at all if Frank Clark was cut. Now the other option is to restructure him or to trade him, but I don't think he's getting traded. I don't think a team's going to trade for him. We'll kind of explore this deeper later on, but we'll get some shout-outs here. Billy says cut him. Ronald says cut him. Arthur says cut him as well. Dustin cut. Tony says keep. Beach says cut. Keith says cut. HD is in Nashville, Tennessee. Season ticket holder for 15 years at Arrowhead. That's good stuff. Marie says cut. Cole says cut. JJ says cut. Tony and Chiefs fans say, or Tony says keep. Chiefs fan says cut. Kedron throwing in the scissors in there. We know that means cut. Jose says cut. Mike says cut. Cut Clark. He hasn't lived up to the contract. Yeah, and that's really the problem. Look, if you could, if his contract was cheaper, I wouldn't mind keeping him, but he simply makes too much money. All right, what are you more excited for? Because the offseason the next couple of weeks is really going to start ramping up. You got the Combine this week, and then free agency starts in just about 2 weeks or so. The tampering period begins March 14th, and then when players can officially sign is March 16th, but really the 14th is when it starts, and that is actually 2 weeks from today. So what are you more excited for? Type F for free agency, type D for draft. I'm excited for both. I'm fired up for both. I cannot wait to see what happens with the Chiefs. Caleb says draft, Tony draft, Mike draft, definitely the draft from Billy. Amani says free agency, both from HD. I'm ready for both from Arthur. Nancy says keeping Frank Clark, by the way. Kedron says free agency. Tony says draft. Owen says draft. J.A. says draft. Cole Keller says both. Let's see. Ronald says both. Juan says free agency. Ben says free agency. Owen says draft. Sarah says both. J7 says draft. Both from me. Who? Yeah. They're both going to be fun. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We will cover it all here at the Chiefs Report, so be sure to subscribe. Something we're doing today is count 'em, two mailbags here on the Chiefs Report. Start loading up your questions right now. Use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat to get your questions in. That's the only way producer Trace is going to find your questions, is if you use hashtag Super Chat or hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat. And we'll get to as many of those as we can. I've seen a couple questions come in, but keep loading them up. Free agency questions, draft, trade, other off-season stuff, I don't care. Ask me whatever you want. Hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat, and we'll answer as many of those as we can. And Trace, if it's a little slow today, we can just get to 8 on both those pieces. We'll be good to go. All right, will you watch any of the Combine? It starts, players show up tomorrow, but the drills start Thursday. Will you guys watch? Some people don't. I definitely will be. Type Y for yes. Type in for no. Will you be watching any of the NFL Combine? Let me know. I'm going to watch it because I'm a nerd and I like to see how fast people run 40-yard dashes. And then we'll get to see how slow Rich Eisen runs in his suit. Tony says yes. Nancy says yes. I'm going to watch from Arthur. Mihu says yes. Keenan says no. Juan says no. Cole says he's watching the whole Combine. Tony says yes. Seeing those hashtag Chiefs come in. We'll get to those questions later on. All right, appreciate you guys for answering today's build-up questions here. We'll get to the bulk of our show just in a moment. But first, if you're ready for the real show to start, you're ready to get this thing popping, like the video, hit that thumbs-up icon. We'll get to your questions, and then we'll start today's show with some cap cut candidates after the Chiefs cut Anthony Hitchens last week. So like this video if you're ready for the real show to start, and we'll get this party started on the Kansas City Chiefs report. Let's see. 23 likes. Let's get a few more. Like the video. Let me know once we've liked it. Owen says Daxton Hill gang. It's good stuff. All right. Let us know how fired up for the draft you are as well. So like this video if you're ready for the real show to start. Once we get to 30 plus likes, we'll go ahead and jump on into it. All right, we're at 34. Appreciate all of that, and let's get into today's. We're gonna do it the other. You had it right. I'll know. Yep, and you'll just insert it afterwards. Tony says he's liked it, and Keedron's liked it as well. All right, let's get to today's live show. Before we get into today's Chiefs report, make sure to hit that subscribe button because we'll have you covered with the latest Chiefs news, rumors, updates, free agency, draft coverage, tons of other stuff as well throughout the entire NFL offseason. We had you covered when Anthony Hitchens got cut, when Eric Bieniemy returned, and with the return of Matt Nagy, we'll have more news and rumors to hit you guys with as well. Let's keep growing this channel. Across 27,000 subs last week. Next milestone is 28K, so go ahead and subscribe. You're watching the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. On today's show, we're going to take a look at 4 players the Chiefs could cut to clear out some salary cap, create more space. And this, of course, comes on the heels of cutting Anthony Hitchens just last week. So you kind of look at the outlook here. Chiefs currently have over $11 million in cap space. That comes after Anthony Hitchens got cut to save almost $8.5 million. So the 11.2 does factor that in. And Kansas City will likely restructure some contracts to create more cap space, and will likely cut more players as well. Some of the restructures, of course, could include Patrick Mahomes. You could restructure Frank Clark. He's certainly a top cut candidate. We'll get into him and others in a moment, but Brett Veach and this front office will certainly look for different ways to create some cap space this offseason so the Chiefs can add more talent to this roster. Like I mentioned, Anthony Hitchens was already released a week ago to clear out some cap space, so he will not be returning to the Kansas City Chiefs. We, of course, wish him the best moving forward. Now, with Hitchens already gone, name a player that the Chiefs should cut this offseason, whether it's from a financial standpoint or just you're tired of this player and you want him out of town. Let me know, and then we'll take a look at 4 players Kansas City could cut. All right, the first one up here, and it's really an obvious one, is Frank Clark. As we take a look at our Chiefs cut candidates on today's video, you kind of look at what Clark has done since being traded to the Chiefs before the 2019 season. Had a good first year here. Not great, but good. 8 sacks, 12 tackles for loss. Was tremendous in the playoff run and in Super Bowl 54 in that victory. So, that alone probably made the trade and the contract worth it. But you see the decline in production, just 6 sacks in 2020, 4.5 last year. He's getting better, not worse. And he's paid to be a premier pass rusher. And when it comes down to it for Frank Clark, his production it doesn't match up the contract. He's overpaid for how much he's producing at this point in his career. And had it not been for how he played in that Super Bowl run, you'd be looking at this trade and this production as a loss for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I won't call it a loss because you got a Super Bowl out of it, and he was a reason why you won that Super Bowl. But his cap hit of over $26 million is too much. I would cut him and save the $12.7 million. Yeah, now, look, the $13+ million in dead cap money, it's not ideal, but if I can get $13 million just like that by cutting him, I'm doing it. I can find someone more productive than Frank Clark for $13 million, or I could go with quantity. I could sign 2 or 3 players to help fill out this roster. I just don't think the juice is worth the squeeze at this point, so I would cut Frank Clark to clear out the 12.7. What would you do should the Chiefs cut Frank Clark? Type C for cut him. Type K for keep him. Get your votes in. Let me know. Should Kansas City cut Frank Clark to clear out $13 million this offseason? Next up, Nick Allegretti, the offensive lineman, the guard who has some center flexibility, who a couple of years ago started pretty much the entire season, but when Brett Veach last offseason made it a point to revamp this offensive line, Allegretti kind of got lost in the fold. You know, he's a quality backup, certainly, but you kind of look at this unit. Sure, Orlando Brown's a free agent, but he's going to be back. The rest of the unit's going to be back. You've got your starting 5 for the foreseeable future with all these guys under contract for a long time. Except for Brown, and again, I expect the deal to get done there. At worst, he'll play on the franchise tag. I value Allegretti. He's a good backup, but you can save almost $1 million if you cut him. The Chiefs like Andrew Wiley. They could bring him back, and he's certainly higher on the pecking order than Allegretti. I'm not going to sit here and say $1 million is a ton of money, but, you cut a few of these guys that save you $1 million, then all of a sudden it adds up to maybe a starting player elsewhere. So, I would consider this. He doesn't have much time left on his rookie contract. We'll see what happens this offseason. Now, someone you're never going to cut, in my opinion, is Patrick Mahomes. And if you guys want to spend money in a proper way, $90, chatsports.com/MahomesRed. You can pick up this red Mahomes jersey right now, Nike Authentic NFL licensed jersey here, chatsports.com/MahomesRed. That link will be in the comments. It'll be in the description of this video. Pick up a jersey today and represent QB1 this offseason and on into next season. Another cut candidate. How about Khalen Saunders, the defensive tackle who has shown signs of life at times, but he's been inconsistent. He's had some injury issues, and we've talked about this quite a bit. The Chiefs might just completely overhaul the defensive line. Outside of Chris Jones, I don't think that anybody is guaranteed to return on this unit. Sure, like young guys like Michael Dana are going to be on the roster because they're cheap and whatnot. But a guy like Khalen Saunders entering the last year of his rookie contract, he could be a cap casualty. I think that's very much a possibility. We talked about Frank Clark. He's probably going to be gone, in my opinion. Jaron Reed, Melvin Ingram are free agents as we look at the depth chart here. And I just don't think that's going to change anytime soon. Outside of Chris Jones, I don't expect anything is a given on this defensive line, and cutting Saunders again saves almost another $1 million, which isn't a ton, but certainly does factor into these type of decisions. So I think it's possible. I think it's something to consider, and if he's not a part of the long-term future, then cutting him to save the $990K might make some sense. And then last up, and this one would be more of a surprise, that's Juan Thornhill. Now, let me just preempt this by saying I would not cut Juan Thornhill. I would not do this for a couple reasons. Number one, I'm still high on his potential. Number two, Tyrann Mathieu's a free agent, and if you don't re-sign him, you literally have no safeties under contract, at least no proven ones. So I would not do it for those reasons. But the Chiefs could look at this and say, okay, Juan Thornhill's had some injury concerns. His best year was his rookie year. We may not re-sign him. He's entering the last year of his deal. Why not cut or trade him? Now, I think trading him would probably be the route to go, but you could cut him if you want the instant cash and save almost $3 million. Not a ton of money, but a decent amount. Again, I can read the comments now. You're crazy. I'm literally saying I would not do this. I'm saying that it's a possibility if the Chiefs want to clear out some cap. I wouldn't do it if I was in charge, but I'm not in charge. That's why we're mentioning him here. I wouldn't expect this. I don't think it's going to happen, but I do think there's at least a tiny chance that it could. Would you cut Juan Thornhill. Type Y for yes. Type in for no. Get your votes in down in the comments. Again, I would not, but maybe some of you guys would on this one. All right, just to recap, these are 4 Cap Cup candidates after Anthony Hitchens was released last week. Frank Clark, that's the big one, obviously, can save almost $13 million. Nick Allegretti and Khalen Saunders can each save you almost $1 million. And then Juan Thornhill could save you about $2.8 million. We'll see how creative Brett Veach gets with the salary cap this offseason. But certainly they will look to clear out some space with cutting some players, potentially some trades, and, of course, restructuring some other contracts like Patrick Mahomes as well. So we'll have you guys covered with the latest on that front all offseason long. That's why you guys need to subscribe, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. No one, and I mean no one, will have more Chiefs news and rumors and updates like we will here at the Kansas City Chiefs Report. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more videos. All right, let's circle back to this question. Should the Chiefs cut Frank Clark? Type 1 for cut, type 2 for keep. What do you guys think? Billy says 1. Kick this fan back toward me. 1 sec. All right, Toady says 2. Lovecat says yes. Eric says yes. Cut, way too expensive. I agree. Mike Tilson, yes. Tony, you're set on keeping him, huh? Paul says yes. Dustin says yes. HD Chiefs fan says yes as well. Arthur says yes. It's Pick says yes. Amani says yes. All right, here's the deal. 2 mailbags to come. Load up those questions. Hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat to get your questions on the show. Hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat. We'll have a couple of mailbags to get into. And, again, Trace, if they're on the shorter side, that's perfectly fine. So we'll go ahead and answer as many of those as we possibly can. So use hashtag Chiefs, or you can Super Chat to get your questions in. Saw some questions coming earlier. We'll answer as many as we can here on today's show. Today's Chiefs mailbag is presented by Fetch Rewards. This app allows you to earn points by scanning receipts, which you can later redeem for gift cards. Any receipt from any store or restaurant counts. You build up those points. You can cash them in for gift cards from various stores and restaurants. Get started today at chatsports.com/fetch and get 3,000 bonus points with promo code Chiefs. Let's start with Billy B. Should we consider a running back later in the draft? I think it's possible, Billy. You know, you got Clyde Edwards-Helaire probably for 2 more years, and that's it. I don't think his 5th-year option gets picked up. And, you know, Darrell Williams, Jarrett McKinnon, free agents, do they both return? We'll see. McKinnon was at Patrick Mahomes' bachelor party. Maybe that's significant. Maybe it's not. Who knows? I would like to keep him for next year. But I think there's a good chance one of Williams and McKinnon is gone. And then maybe you draft a guy in like the 5th or 6th round. Dustin Tammon, I hear a lot of big-time receivers, people wanting the Chiefs to sign. Is it even a viable option with the amount of holes to fill on defense? Well, you think about the defense. So, yeah, the defensive line is going to need probably an overhaul. You got Chris Jones, but beyond that, you need 2, maybe 3 starters in that unit. I think in linebacker, you're pretty good. Add a cheapish number 3 linebacker next to Willie Gay and Nick Bolton. Safety, obviously, you know, you need someone to replace Mathieu, or you need to bring him back. And then Charvarius Ward's a name to watch. So, yeah, you're looking at maybe 4, 5-ish starters on defense. So that's notable. But on offense, your O-line's completely set. You're going to bring back Orlando Brown, so that's good. Running backs, you're not going to spend big money there. Maybe you sign or draft a cheap one. Tight end, I think you're good as well. You've got enough depth behind Kelsey. Maybe you draft a guy on day 3, but you won't have to spend a lot of money there. Receiver, that's the one spot. So I think it's possible. I'm not saying they're going to sign someone $15 million a year, but could you sign like a Christian Kirk or someone like that? I think that's a possibility. Sarah Wynn, what do you think about signing Edmonds from the Cardinals? Talking about Chase Edmonds. Is this kind of a rotation back? If it's cheap, sure, like $3 million or less. But I mean, if he's more than that, then I would just bring back Darrell Williams or Jarrett McKinnon. I think they're in similar tiers as Edmonds. Maybe Edmonds is a tick better, but I think that that's kind of semantics. I think you can get by with just an average rotation. Honey Badger's watching. What's your gut feeling on you? Is Tyrann Mathieu going to be gone? Well, Tyrann, if this is you, I think that my gut feeling is if you said, hey, you got to choose today or else, I would say I think he's gone, but I've been wrong before, and I wouldn't say I'm 100% confident. But if I had to guess, I'm going to guess that he's gone. But I'd say it's like 55, 60% he's gone, 40, 45% he returns. It depends on what the Chiefs value with their cap space that they end up creating this offseason. Do they want to bring back Honey Badger? Do they think that he's a guy that they can afford to let go? So I would like to bring him back. I don't think the Chiefs will overpay, though, and if he wants top dollar, it's not going to come from Kansas City. Will Tyrann Mathieu return next season? Type Y for yes. Type in for no. This will be the pinned comment on today's video. So if you get hit with the YouTube ad break, scroll on down and answer this question. Come back up. More questions to be answered. ZT Gaming, would you like to trade up in the draft for a defensive end or trade for one? I do think defensive end is a spot that the Chiefs need to value this offseason. Look, they tried it with Frank Clark with some success, but overall, I would say he's underachieved based on the contract they got. Do you bring back Melvin Ingram, even if you do, that he's not going to have 12 sacks or something like that? I do think defensive end is probably the biggest need on this roster this year, so I think spending a first-round pick, maybe even trading up for one, does make some sense. Arthur Miller, are we getting a wide receiver? Sure. Now, that answer might be just re-signing Byron Pringle and or DeMarcus Robinson. But yes, the Chiefs will obviously have to add some receivers because Tyreek Hill and McCole Hardman are really the only two primary ones under contract. Owen Donaldson, the Chiefs draft Daxton Hill for the first round. I think it's possible. I think number 30 pick is kind of the range for him. Late first, maybe he slides early second. But cornerback that has some safety experience, could play some nickel as well. I like him as a player. I would prefer a pass rusher, but Dax Hill is certainly an intriguing prospect. Beach 303, would you trade McCole Hardman and say a second or third for Mekhi Becton? I like Becton, but a couple of issues here. Let me double check one thing here before I get this right or wrong. Mekhi Becton, yeah, he's a left tackle. That's the issue. Well, you going to kick him to right or kick Orlando Brown to right? I don't think that's going to happen. If he was a right tackle or a willing right tackle, sure, like he's an upgrade over Lucas Niang, but I actually think the O-line's fine. You have an elite left tackle. You have all three of your interior, center, left guard, right guard, are all good, and Lucas Niang's above average at right tackle. So, yeah, I think the O-line's fine overall. Now, Fetch Rewards is more than fine. It is the best app on the planet, and here is why. Because it's an app that allows you to scan your receipts from anywhere, your grocery store, your local mom and pop, online orders as well. You scan receipts, you earn points, you turn them into gift cards. Simple process for you guys. Grab your pile, start scanning like in this video demonstration. Get those points. Once you get the points, the confetti pops, and then you are able to build up more points. And as you get more points, you're able to get bigger rewards, bigger gift cards from places like Walmart, Target, Apple. Also, you can get restaurants, Chili's, Olive Gardens. A lot of the chain ones are on there. Some local ones in bigger cities as well. But get started today. Chatsports.com/fetch. That link will be in the comments and the description of this video. Plus, promo code Chiefs gets you 3,000 bonus points. All right, Fourth Eye Kingdom. Should the Chiefs sign a proven backup quarterback or roll with Shane Buechele? Interesting question. I haven't gotten a lot of QB questions from you guys. Obviously, when you have Patrick Mahomes, there aren't going to be a lot. But I don't think backup quarterback is an underrated aspect moving forward. Here are 5 names I cooked up here as backup QB options. Sure, you could bring back Chad Henne. And this is outside of Shane Buechele. He could be the backup as well. Chad Henne, if you want to bring him back for another year, if he wants to play for another year, okay. He's not going to play forever, though. Tyrod Taylor, he's a great backup, lots of starting experience, takes care of the football. I've always liked him as a backup. Andy Dalton, I think he'd be a good backup as well. He knows Matt Nagy. Played under him in Chicago last year. I don't know how he feels about Nagy, but you've got that connection. Jacoby Brissett, a good backup as well. Marcus Mariota, I wonder if he's going to try and start somewhere, but if you can't find one of those gigs, a backup role could be valuable. Plus, he's been in the division the past couple of years with the Las Vegas Raiders. So what do you guys think? Who do you want is the Chiefs' backup quarterback next season? If Shane Buechele progresses enough, I'd be fine with him because he's cheap and he's young. He's got a strong arm, and he's been in the system for a year now. I'd be fine with him. But if you want more of a proven guy, out of those guys we mentioned, Tyrod Taylor, Jacoby Brissett, those are good options. I don't think the Chiefs want to spend a lot of money on a backup, but if you could get one of those options I mentioned for like $4 million or less, I think that could be beneficial as well. A few more questions on this mailbag. Tony Fuentes, glad that Nagy's back. Hope he stays in KC for a long time. So there's been a lot of, and I'm probably going to have to do a video on this, there's a lot of chatter that the Chiefs view Matt Nagy as the long-term replacement for Andy Reid. And I'm conflicted about this because I've watched the Bears super closely, as a lot of you guys know, cover them as well. Things unraveled in Chicago with him as the head coach. Now, a lot of guys don't do well their first time as a head coach. They regroup. When they get a second chance, they're much better. Bill Belichick. But man, it got bad quickly. I think Kansas City's a perfect landing spot for him. Get back to where he's comfortable. That's under Andy Reid. Restock the image here. And then, maybe down the road, that's a possibility. But I do think we're years away on that possibly happening. Young Craze, thoughts on drafting John Mechie? Like him. I think third round, it makes sense for him. Second round maybe because the Chiefs are at the tail end there, but I'd rather get him in the third. But good player, good route runner, not super flashy, but solid. OG Beam, J.C. Jackson or Stephon Gilmore? I like Jackson's younger. He gets more takeaways probably at this point, but he's probably going to cost more. So whoever's cheaper, but I actually don't think either of these guys is super likely. But I'd be ecstatic if one of them chose the Chiefs. All right, follow me on Twitter, at HGramNFL, at HGramNFL. We answer as many questions as we can on these mailbags, but if your question doesn't get answered or if you have another one, follow me there, slide in the DMs, and we will answer over there as well. All right, let's get some shout-outs here. Let's have a conversation about backup quarterback a little bit. Who do you want as the backup QB? Keenan says Shane. Let's see. Let me see. Mariota from Mike. Someone says I have season tickets for the Dolphins. Brissett is trash. Well, he's a backup. I value him because he started a lot of games in this league, and as a spot starter, he's fine. But yeah, any backup, if you're expecting greatness, you're going to be sadly disappointed. Tyrod from OG Beam. I'm cool with Shane from Billy. Shane would be the cheapest option because he was undrafted. So, and the Chiefs value him because he was on their practice squad and they signed him to the active roster late in the year because someone tried to poach him. I think Arizona. So they clearly value him. So I think he'll be back. It's just a question of if he'll be the backup or the third stringer. All right, one more mailbag to go. Hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat. We'll answer your questions for another 10 minutes or so, and then we'll send this thing to loop. So load them up so producer Trace can find them. Hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat. And we will get your questions answered on the show. No Super Chats today. You could be the first, and that is a guarantee to be a part of our show. So if you want to do that, feel free, and we'll go ahead and answer all of your questions. It is mailbag time here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. I am Harrison Graham. Hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat to get your questions on the show, and we will answer as many as we possibly can here on today's show. Jose Barriga, which free agent would you like to see signed during the offseason? I'm looking at pass rushers like, I don't know, could you get a guy like Jadeveon Clowney? Could you get drawing a blank on could you get a Chandler Jones? I would really like that. I want pass rushers, so that is an area I would look at. Von Miller, he's probably going to be too expensive, but someone like that would be really, really nice. Billy B., Andrew Booth Jr. or Daxton Hill, if they're both available. I know more about Daxton Hill, so I'll trust with what I have there. I haven't watched Booth as much. Probably Daxton Hill. Rospa Kaufman, how you feel about Snead moving to safety? He played some of that in college. I don't want to mess with the good thing. 2 years under his belt as corner, and he's played pretty well for the most part. I would not go that route, personally. Him and Rashad Fenton are finally in there, and they're finally comfortable together. I think you have 2 starting corners. Why mess with it? But, you could go that route. I would prefer not to. The reason you could, he's also a great tackler. But, again, I would keep him at corner. St. Even. Oh, just Steven. I'm an idiot. What would a restructured Mahomes contract even look like? So I mentioned earlier on the live show that the Chiefs could restructure his contract. Doesn't mean he's going to be making less. It's a common thing that happens with big contracts where you just convert a lot of his salary this year into a signing bonus. So say, I think his cap hits like 36, 37 million this year, which actually isn't that bad. But I think they can convert like 20 million of it into a signing bonus, which clears like 20 million in cap space for this year. Now, it adds onto future years, but if the cap keeps going up, that's not really a big deal. So that's really it, Steven. It would just clear cap space for this year, but he's still making the same amount of money personally. Rasta Kaufman, how you feel about... Oh, he answered this one already. Snead at safety. Again, I'd keep him at corner. Mihu, what do you think about the Chiefs trading for Josh Allen, the defensive end from the Jags? I like Josh Allen. I like the quarterback too. He's good, but I'm good with Mahomes. As far as the defensive end goes, liked him coming out of Kentucky. He's been good, not great in the NFL. Could you get him for a second-round pick? I'm guessing the Jags would want a first. I don't know if I'd trade. I guess I might trade my first. It's 30th overall, but... if you trade for him, you have to commit to signing him. I don't know. I'd have to think about that more. But I do like Josh Allen. He's good. Johnny Screws. Could the Chiefs draft Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson in round 1? So both Ohio State wide receivers. Number one, I don't think either of these guys will fall to 30, but if one of them does, then yes, take either. They're both really good. I think if someone's going to drop, it's Olave. Garrett Wilson's pretty high on most people's draft boards, top 15 type of player. Olave, top 20, top 25. Maybe he falls to 30. Maybe he doesn't, have a great pro day or whatever, but I think he's probably gone. But if he's there, if somehow Wilson's there, then yes, draft him. Would I trade up for one of these guys? Probably not. I just think you have bigger needs, and I don't want to, get rid of other draft picks to trade up for a receiver necessarily. Now, name a player you would trade up for in this draft. If there's a pass rusher I really liked, and I need to do more, tape work, study work, which I will over the next couple of months, then I would do it for a pass rusher. Otherwise, probably staying put at 30. But if you have a player in mind, let me know in the comments. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Chiefs Report. We'll get to more questions in just a moment, but we are the fastest growing Chiefs channel here on YouTube, trying to get to 28,000 subscribers before free agency begins in a couple of weeks. So subscribe, join us. Free videos here on a daily basis here on the Chiefs Report. Don't miss any of it. Arthur Miller with the backup QB option. Cam Newton. I'm out on Cam. He just doesn't throw the ball well anymore. I'd rather go with a less injured guy like a Andy Dalton or a Tyrod Taylor. Or I know Jacoby Brissett's had some injuries, but I'd rather go that route. I think Cam's done, man. I really do. Rasta Kaufman, bring back Jerick McKinnon. I'm down for that. Same. I thought by the end of the year you could argue he was this team's best running back. Now, there were times early in the year after Edwards-Helaire fumbled against the Ravens, which was a down point for him. I thought he had a couple really nice games after that. Darrell Williams had a chunk of the year where he was clearly the best running back, had over 1,000 yards in total offense. But in the playoffs, Jerick McKinnon was this team's best running back. So, yeah, I would like to bring him back. Mahomes 86, John Mechie or George Pickens in round 2. Pickens. More injuries to be aware with, although Mechie has an injury he's recovering from as well. But Pickens' upside is greater, so I would go George Pickens over John Mechie. HD Chiefs fan, what about signing Melvin Ingram? Definitely open to it. Depends on price, but I thought he gave this team a nice lift in the second half of the year. Didn't always result in sacks, but I thought he got consistent pressure, and he helped against the run pretty well. So, yeah, I'm down to bring him back. I don't think he should be this team's best defensive end, but if he's your second best, then I think that would be a good thing. Paul Lewis, which free agent receiver are we most likely to get, OBJ or Juju? I think Juju's way more likely. Number one, OBJ may not even be ready for week 1 coming off an ACL tear. Number 2, Juju expressed interest in signing last year, and I think he will again this year, and he's going to be cheaper. So I think signing Juju over OBJ is way more likely. Now, if you want to deal in something cheap as well, get this Chiefs long sleeve shirt for 25% off. Limited time only offer, chatsports.com/ChiefsLong. That link will be in the comments, the description of this video, the live chat, all that good stuff. Click and shop today. Pick up a brand new long sleeve shirt. Good looking one as well. Got the logo. You got the yellow KC letters. Good stuff there. chatsports.com/ChiefsLong. All right, Riley Gamer. Should the Chiefs draft a tight end with Travis Kelce getting older? You know, they drafted Noah Gray last year. You've got Jody Forts, and you look at the depth chart here at tight end. Yeah, Kelce's going to be 33 soon, but I still think he's got multiple really good years left. Blake Bell's a free agent. Is Noah Gray the heir apparent to Kelce? I don't know. I thought he flashed at times. Now, let's be clear, too. Whenever Kelce's done, you're not finding Kelce 2.0. Now, you're hoping you're finding a really good player, but Kelce's a one of a kind. I mean, you're talking about one of the greatest tight ends in NFL history. But I think it's a fair question to wonder if you have the guy currently on the roster to replace Travis Kelce. So I'll ask you, does Kansas City have Kelce's long-term replacement currently on this roster? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I would lean no, but maybe Fortson or Gray in the next couple of years prove to be that. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, I think Kelce still has multiple good years left. But obviously he's not going to play forever, so that's a position to monitor moving forward. Rosta Kaufman, what would a Tyreek Hill extension look like? I mean, shoot. I think he made, about $18 a year on this last deal. I think you're talking at least a $5 million raise, probably 23, 24, 25 million. 3 years, $72 million, 24 a year, something like that. It's going to be a lot. I don't know if he'll be the highest paid, but he'll be in the top 5. J7, have you seen Sam Williams, edge rusher, Ole Miss? He's going to go day 2. Could be special. I've not watched much of him. I've seen that name kind of trend recently. I'll go check him out more. But, yeah, I mean, look, I think a lot of these guys that come out these days, they're just freak athletes, but they need more polishing. Maybe he's one of those guys. Cole Keller, do you expect the Chiefs to re-sign Chad Henne? Do I expect it? No. Could it happen? Yes. I'd say it's 50-50. A, does Chad Henne want to keep playing? B, how do the Chiefs feel about Shane Buechele after a year with the team? If he's ready to go, I would probably just promote him to the backup, let Chad Henne walk. If they don't feel like Buechele's ready, maybe you bring back Henne, or maybe you bring back another backup quarterback. I think all those options are on the table. Appreciate you guys for submitting your questions on today's show. Instagram is a spot you can find me as well, at HGramNFL. If we didn't get to your question, or if you have more questions, follow me there, and then shoot me a DM, ask me a question. Always down to chop it up with you guys on social media. At HGramNFL is the place to follow me on IG. All right, make sure you guys subscribe. We'll be live again soon, likely next Monday. The plan for the most part in the offseason is to be live on Mondays with, of course, occasional scheduling conflicts as well. So subscribe, turn on those notifications, and be sure to join us throughout the offseason. We're not going to loop today's show, actually, by the way. Appreciate you guys for rocking and rolling with us. So subscribe, more videos to come on the channel. And we will see you guys soon here on the Chiefs Report.